let's get into it tonight, Jackson. I mean, not much to really beat around the bush about. We know Alabama. We talked about it yesterday. You, myself, and Jeffrey kind of talked about the injury bugs, what the rotation was going to look like. Well, today was the first day back at practice after 2 days off. We had the great reports from this weekend scrimmage. A lot of positivity coming from that scrimmage report, minus the major injury issues. But I think we're in a good position. I think we're very good after getting some feedback before watching the interview today. I was kind of spot on as I was doing the report. You know, the interviews was being uploaded, and I was kind of spot on the mindset of how this staff is approaching this team and all the depth that they needed to have questions answered for. This is more of an opportunity. It makes it easier for them to evaluate a lot of these players at these positions, in these depth positions, and see how they can impact the game with some of these position groups experiencing some injuries. So we're going to dive into it. Let's lead off with Coach Grubb interview. What you think?
Oh, I'm curious to see how it turned out, but it's always a great sight to see Coach Grubb at the podium.
Oh, yeah, always. Let's get to it.
I'm ready.
You got another starter you can name for us?
No. Nope. Parker Brailsford. He's going to start.
Coach, with you being here with a different kind of quarterback, would the offense look drastically different than, say, last year? Or are there other factors?
I mean, that's kind of the obvious one, right? Is like we're not necessarily a Jalen Milroe offense right now. Just Jalen was a super talented runner, and that was probably a part of the game plan every week, and which was smart last year by the offensive staff. So
he would say,
I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Hey, so I kind of and we're gonna pause and just kind of respond throughout the video, but I kind of alluded to that, Jackson. I said, that was one of the questions I would like to be asked in a sense, like, what will be the major difference from the execution of this year's style of offense and play calling than last year with Jalen Milroe? And they really didn't ask that specifically, but he answered it by specifically saying this offense won't look the same style as it did when we had Jalen Milroe as the main guy. Shout out to Ballard Sports Media tapping in over here on the YouTube channel, and shout out to my guy Ayo Sully says roll Tide today. Michael, welcome in, man. Roll Tide from Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Yeah, everybody in the chat, while we're getting warmed up and getting into the conversation, let us know where you're watching from. This community is starting to grow, and we're starting to expand. I want to see where everybody's watching from so we can give y'all a shout out. And maybe that'll encourage some of the Bama fans hiding out in your town or city, looking for a safe space. It'll encourage them to join the community and follow us here and with all the best Bama content. But the Jalen Milroe style offense, it still averaged 33 points a game, Jackson. Like,
We can do better than that.
But I'm saying, like, people look at how the season ended and they try to blame it on the quarterback position. I understand there was some shortcomings, but guys, it takes more than a quarterback being inconsistent to lose 3 games. And then it definitely requires a little extra effort around the quarterback when you're on the road. And let's be honest, man, Oklahoma game, wide receivers had big drops early in the game. Vanderbilt game, the defense missed a lot of tackles in the first half. A lot of drop passes in the second half against Vanderbilt, and a few bad calls here and there. Then Tennessee, I think just overall, man, the team just wasn't locked in. So a lot of team things, but yeah, let's talk about the offense. Ryan Grubb specifically said we won't see as much of a Jalen Milroe style offense. What does that mean to you from a fan standpoint, Jackson?
It means we're not going to be seeing a lot of over-reliance on Ryan Williams. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of running around, running for dear life. That's what we're not going to see.
100%, man. And then also that in that, that means the offensive line has to be better. So let's get back to the interview and see what Coach Grubb had to say. This is a nice little lengthy interview, so we're going to have a good time to react to it. And y'all give us y'all thoughts in the comments as we break things down. Kind of listen to what's being said. There may be one or two. I guarantee you, I haven't been able to listen through the whole thing, but I guarantee you there's maybe one or two. And I ain't gonna do that on this.
I think it's, we got to see a lot here in the next week or so to see who can handle the game plan, who's the most responsible with all their duties.
Talking about the running back position.
Running back group? It's a broad question. Seen a lot. Daniel Hill has done a good job providing a lot of protection, and I think he's gotten a lot better at that as far as with his eyes. He's a super physical guy. I think Daniel has started to run like the back we saw in the spring. Early in camp, I thought he was a little bit slow to come to that. Dre has great vision running the football. He improves every day still. I think some of the pass protection responsibilities are things that probably were not in his wheelhouse prior to getting here. Kevin Riley has started to show up a little bit. He's a guy that has really nice vision. Not as big a back as the other guys, but runs very physical and is really good out of the backfield.
What have you seen from Richard?
Tight end room. A lot of guys, Danny and Josh are doing a great job as the older guys, getting a lot of reps. Caleb has shown up, shown to be more physical. That was one of the things I think was going to be the biggest challenge for him initially, making the big jump from high school ball to this. Jay Lindsay is super dependable as a guy that's shown up to be able to be a guy with his hand in the ground, can be a move player for you, and certainly has provided a lot of depth for us.
What have you seen from Richard? How has he progressed?
Richard Newton?
Richard Young.
Oh, Rich Young?
Yeah.
I thought you said Richard Newton. I was like, wow, that was our running back in Washington.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's wasn't that one of their guys in Washington and Newton?
So Rich Young, real similar running backs, by the way. Rich has been super physical and has been a guy the last two scrimmages, I thought, when we need a little bit of a spark to pop a, run right up the middle and finish it. He's done a great job. He's worked really hard at becoming a better player out of the backfield, has gotten better at that. Very responsible. He cares a lot. He's tough, physical, and we love him.
Hey, yeah, AAA family, you all know why I'm cheesing so hard over here, because this is literally my first time watching the interview. Okay. But you all know what we were doing when this interview was happening, or when this was supposed to be being posted. We were actually live, and to be echoing some of the same things. Shout out to the Voice of College Football Alabama Network, like the team that helps us with getting our resources and supplying us with our own information. Shout out to the people that really believe and support our organization. Because a lot of takes that I had earlier, man, you would think that I was at the interview with Ryan Grubb. You would have thought I was his PR. The way that he's answering the questions and some of the ideas or the way of thinking behind handling this team and the vision of what it should look like offensively. Like I really feel like I'm connected. But with that being said, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got Blue Ridge, Georgia checking in, Mary J checking in. We got Jordan Wright checking in from the $1 Million Band himself, man, checking in from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Then who else we got, man? Zach checking in from T-Town, home of the University of Alabama Crimson Tide. Who else, man? We got Sam Wilkinson checking in from the Caribbean, St. George, Grenada. Authenticity above all. Appreciate that, Sam. Much love, family. Tapping in, man. Hey, make sure y'all come and subscribe over at the Alabama at the Voice of College Football. So, hearing about the running back rotation, some of the guys' names that he mentioned, he did not initially mention Richard Young, right? He did not initially mention Richard Young, and to some people, that to me, no, I'm not going to say to me. To some people, they look like, okay, Richard Young must not be the guy in the room right now. What's your thoughts on him mentioning, kind of like highlighting all the backs but Richard Young?
Yeah, that kind of makes me think. I wonder what's going on with Richard Young. I bet it means we're going to see more of Daniel Hill on the field.
I'm exact opposite. I think Richard Young and Jam Miller were part of the primary plan. So having Jam Miller go down doesn't take your focus or shift your primary focus. I think you more so have to find out who your backup guy is going to be. And that's why he mentioned Dre Washington. That's why he mentioned Daniel Hill. That's why he mentioned Kevin Riley. Those guys are going to be RB2 while Jam Miller is out. Now, and that's just my opinion. That's my thought process, because if you look at how this system was ran last year, if Richard Young doesn't go down last year, Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, you never knew who the lead back was. you had running back RB1A, RB1B, and then you had a spell back. Those guys had an equal amount of carries. Even with Jalen Milroe in this offense, I think you saw the play disparity, meaning the splits percentage wise. Jam Miller and Justice Haynes basically split. So I think Richard Young was stepping into the Justice Haynes role while Daniel Hill was stepping into the Richard Young role from last season. And if you see, like, if you understand that, or if you're following me there, that's why Richard Young probably wasn't initially mentioned in the interview. That's my thoughts on it. Most people will want to jump ship and be like, Richard ain't the guy. Nah, he's the guy. He's the primary guy. So now you have to evaluate what's behind him because of how they want to have this balanced offensive rushing attack. So that's my thoughts on it, man. Facts, Coach. The haters can't say you aren't connected anymore. What do you mean? What did I do? What happened? What we do? Oh, I don't know. Somebody must have said something on Twitter or something. I don't know. We don't care. But that's good to hear from the running back room, knowing that there's confidence in that room. Dre Washington coming in, starting to, his skill sets are starting to show their value in this system, in this scheme. Definitely want to see him get better on a pass pro. But Daniel Hill, man, I think he's going to be the primary guy to back up Richard Young right there. What you said yesterday, you were very high on Daniel Hill, kind of like being, or I don't think it was yesterday, whatever show we had when you was talking about Daniel Hill being the guy to kind of emerge from that running back room.
What were your impressions of Ty in the second scrimmage?
Ty, I think, was 12 of 15 or with 2 drops. I thought he was very controlled, distributed the ball right where it was supposed to be. I thought his eyes were in the right spot. Like, I thought he was very disciplined. We were trying to put him in some spots in the fringe and things like that to see how he'd respond and make sure he takes care of the football, keep us in field goal range, all those things. And I thought he responded really, really well. Had calm demeanor when it was good and bad. There was a couple flows there. We started out really fast again and did a nice job. And when we hit a little bit of a lull, I thought he was there to respond.
The 2 other quarterbacks as well in the scrimmage.
Austin started really, really clean, had a really nice touchdown drive to start. Keelan was doing the same, marched down the field. We had a couple hiccups up front there that put the ball backwards a little bit, but I thought initially in the scrimmage, all 3 of the guys played really, really clean, accurate throws, pushing the ball down the field when they could, and were smart with their checkdowns.
We heard the noise today when we were out there. How do you think the team did deal with that adjustment?
This is huge right here.
Just like any time. I mean, this was the first time we worked it hard, so a lot to improve on there, of course. I think anytime you start really getting that in where you're running plays and using motions and all those things, like there's some bumps on it. I thought they did better as they got more used to it in practice, and we'll continue to work it. That's something that obviously we'll have to be ready for.
That's huge. I want to get some thoughts on that in the chat, in the comments, but also Jackson, give me your thoughts, man. Getting the crowd noise active. We know, I think Tallahassee is going to be rocking, man. Florida State, Doak County Stadium. Talk about it, Jackson.
They're rocking it. Oh, they're rocking and rolling. Like, they're going to bring out that tomahawk chop.
Yeah.
When we come to town. So they're going to be excited, but I don't think the excitement's going to last very long when Bama comes in.
And that's what I want people to understand. Like, we have to understand this is a new era of college football. That Florida State, that 2-10 team is not who we're playing. And I understand they're having issues with players and their mentalities and all these behavior issues and having to kick players off the team and all this other stuff. But I think usually when stuff like that happens for the underdog, that's when you see them really come out and play relentless. And those are the teams you need to be scared of. And I'm not saying Alabama needs to be scared of Florida State. I'm just saying we need to show up more than prepared. You can't just show up with your A game. Show up with your A+ game. Week 1, got to fire off, got to start off with the big plays, all of the stuff that you think you would want to assert yourself or to cement yourself as one of the dominant teams amongst the top 3 and top 5 in college football. You have to do it week 1 against Florida State at their house in Tallahassee, opening weekend to kick off your season. I think that's the way to go. And if you have that mentality, if that's the way you want to start, we're going to be able to, like you said, they won't be as hyped, but we're going to need to take that crowd out of it because you got a lot of, different, I guess you could say, style of language being thrown around on both sides of the ball, with Chuck Morrell being on the field, play calling in the booth while Coach Womack is on the field, play calling for the defense. Then also you got I think we'll see Grubb up in the booth for the offense, and you got his assistants on the field, DeMarcus Shepard, Nick Sheridan probably on the field. So that's another question we'll be trying to get answered before kickoff, because that's important too. The placement of the coaches, how you want your coordinators. Kane Womack is an on the field guy. Chuck Morrell has always been more so a booth guy. Was in the booth as a coordinator for Womack at Washington. So going to be interesting to see all these storylines play out throughout the rest of fall camp. But that was an interesting thought. With the crowd noise, Florida State being in that stadium, how's everything going to pan out? Shout out to everybody pulling up in the chat, man. Let me see who this is, brother. We got some more comments. We got it says Sandy Springs checking in. Sully checking in from Sandy Springs, Jordan. That's at Atlanta. Dino says Mark Norville got this year and next year before they run him out. Ooh, strong words. Them fighting words.
Oh, they're
What's
paying
happening?
too much money.
Oh,
What's
man.
up, Georgia Fight? Yeah, he's from. You see him quite a lot on each of the Voice College football channels. And shout out to John D'Animo from Wolverines Live.
Yes, sir. What's good, John?
Commitment watch party by Michigan, Tennessee, and Ohio State. The Voice College football as TJ Tucker Harlan and Garrison Gaddy hosted the Savion Hyder commitment watch party. That was a wild ride right there.
Yeah,
I know Michigan's happy. Hey, we're happy Tennessee's not getting them. So that's
not only that, but I think we saw that one early in his recruitment. A lot of people were kind of skeptical about it. I'm like, nah, he's definitely a Michigan fit. So congratulations to Michigan, man, and shout out to you, brother, for tapping in with us tonight as we break down this Alabama Crimson Tide, man. Ryan Grubb was up for interviews today, media availability. So kind of just reacting to it, man, and giving our thoughts and our insight based off the reports. And it's funny because, like I said, man, a lot of things that we talked about on the post-practice report before seeing this interview and some of the footage, man, they were definitely we were spot on. So
Cam and Gino doing at guard, and how comfortable would you be rolling out there
guard
with them
position?
if Jaden's not back?
Very comfortable. Those are two veteran players, very versatile too. They can both play left or right, so they're interchangeable. But Cam brings a lot of physical presence to him. Gino is a savvy player that knows how to connect with his center.
What will your offense miss without Jam Miller, and what have the conversations been like with him? How's he kind of holding up after
Jam is he's such a stud. I mean, he is he'll be a value to our team no matter what right now, just because of his demeanor and leadership. So I think that's one of the things you miss on the field right away is just him being out there. There's a presence to him when he's on the field, so we'll certainly miss that. His explosiveness, his running style, all those things will be missed. But he's been great. I think he's in high spirits. He knows this is a temporary setback, and he'll be ready to go.
So we actually were able to get a message to Jam from the family. So be looking out for that response. I'm gonna post it. We got permission to post it when we get the response. So be looking out for that, y'all.
During open availability, Josh mentioned that you're going to be using them in big ways. What does that look like from an offensive standpoint?
Oh man, a lot of things I can't talk about.
Tight end usage.
I don't know. I've just always felt like the tight ends were the equalizer. They're the guy that can change the box count. They can manipulate what the defense thinks as far as how many people they have to have relevant to the run fit. So I think that the guys realizing that they're always part of that and how they can manipulate that for us is truly unique.
How close are Josh and Danny to being 100%?
I mean, they're out there, they're practicing, so to me, they're 100%. They don't have yellow jerseys on, they're rolling. I think, they're both repping quite a bit, honestly. Like, at one point, they're only at like 20 reps. They've went way past that to where, I don't feel like there's any limitations.
Tight end rotation, something that's going to be important to this year's offense success. I keep telling people this offense is most elite and is most lethal when the tight end usage is used in high usage. They're talking about 27 to 31% of your passes going to the tight end position when you're talking about volume. So the tight end usage, the depth of talent at the tight end position, I believe this staff is excited to utilize, especially with guys like Josh Cuevas and Danny Lewis kind of, working limited in practice, having the depth to work guys like Marshall Pritchard, Brody Dawson, the transfer from Troy, Jack San Marco, Jay Lindsey, getting those guys in both the Y and the H position solidified and seeing how they can impact the game or how they can contribute is huge. You're going to hear how much how important that position is. And I think this will be the year where we see at least 4 to 5 guys utilized in that YH rotation because of all the different skill sets. What's your thoughts on the tight end room there, Jackson?
I can't wait to see Brody Dalton. I'm excited to see him. Ever since he came from Troy, I've been so excited to see him on the field. I'm already just counting down to the days where we see Brody Dalton just become the X factor for that Crimson Tide offense.
It's funny that you say that, Jackson, because I've been very high on the young man since he's came in from Troy. I've looked at his film from when he played at Troy. That Troy passing attack is something serious year in and year out. I've never seen a group of 4 team just, the way they turn over talent, I think the last wide receiver that they seen transfer out of there was Barber, ended up at Ole Miss, I believe, or was that Oregon? I can't remember what school he ended up leaving and going to, but they produce a quality.
But neither one of them get an Natty, so that's what matters right there.
What's that?
Ole Miss, Oregon don't get natties. Bama.
Hey, it's fine, man. Sometimes it ain't about the night; it's about doing what's best for your career.
I know it, man.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I don't want to talk natties until we get back to one. We don't want to turn into Georgia fans living off of the past. We want to be current when we talk about our dominance, and that's why I love to pick at Georgia fans, because until you all beat us, you can't talk about being the kings of college football. You can't beat Bama. You have to beat Bama to become the kings of college football. You get what I'm saying? Michigan did it, so they can talk a little bit. Or I mean, not Oregon, but Ohio State did it before. They can talk about it. Georgia, yours is in the past. We done one up you since then. So, and then also on some updates with the injuries, Danny Lewis and Josh Cuevas have always they're going to be injuries where players may have to sit out one practice because of swelling or something like that. But you got to understand, man, players, you're never fully 100%. There's very rare when you start your collegiate career. You're very rarely going to, if you played a lot of minutes as a varsity player through high school, you're playing through injuries just about your whole career. It's your level of tolerance, the recovery you do around it. And this strength and conditioning program at Alabama has done a very good job in, guys sustaining themselves during working back from injuries. So the recovery staff here at Alabama, I think, is top tier. I think there'll be a specific plan in place, going into kickoff week for all of these players that are expected to play heavy minutes. But, I really do think this staff, they have a certain level of trust in the depth on each side of the ball. And I mean 2 or 3 deep at just about every position, where you got 3 or 4 personnel that you feel like you can rotate and get the look that you want at just about every position. Maybe not so much at the offensive line. You probably just 2 deep or 1.5 deep, maybe 8 offensive linemen deep right now, and confident in that position. But everywhere else, I think you got 3 or 4 people at each spot that can give you a quality impact and put out quality numbers if you was to put them in and insert them into the game plan. So good position to be in, Alabama. Good position to be in. You got anything else, Jackson? All right.
About it from me for right now.
Let's get it.
Cole is a really savvy route runner. He knows how to get in and out of breaks, understands how to play off the leverage of defenders, read coverages, and in the last week and a half probably has made more contested catches than anybody on the team. And that's one of the things I don't think you would necessarily think from a guy that's a little bit smaller in stature, but he's very competitive when the football's in the air.
There's going to be a lot of eyes on
And so I believe, hold on.
I thought they did better as great. I think he's in high spirits. He knows this is a
100%.
I think that was a question asked because we reported, and this is something that I saw. Cole had a rough scrimmage. Number 2, it had a lot of targets, but there were a few drops. I want to say it was two or three drops. One was strongly contested. The secondary played very good in the second scrimmage. You didn't see many big plays, but 2 of them were drops. kind of just not getting his head around or getting his head around. And I think one was kind of behind as far as timing wise, but definitely hit his hands on all three of them. And like you said, a lot of his catches are contested catches. I think he still ended up with 4 or 5 receptions. Probably was the second or number one most targeted receiver in the scrimmage this past weekend. So going to see his workload continue to increase as you're able to spell guys like Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams in this offensive style. That way you're using them for explosive style plays. And the play calling matches up, man.
Week and a half probably has made more contested catches than anybody on the team. And that's one of the things I don't think you would necessarily think from a guy that's a little bit smaller in stature, but he's very competitive when the football's in the air.
There's going to be a lot of eyes on, obviously, Ryan Williams heading into year 2.
Yeah.
What's kind of been your message to him over the course of this fall?
Y'all know that voice.
For that stage that he's about to set up?
Well, Ryan kind of does that himself. For his age, he is a very, very just mellow guy. Like, he can take it all in, and the moment's never too big. It's also probably what makes him a really good player when the big games hit is that he won't melt in those situations. So I think that part is a little bit built in just because of who he is. But for him, he's still working on route running, inside, outside, wherever we put him, and just getting to be a better receiver.
For this offense to succeed, what do you need from the running game?
Yeah, I think, for us, it's really putting the stress on the offensive line and the tight ends, being physical up front and creating presence. I think when they do that, if we can establish the line of scrimmage, we certainly have the skill players on the outside. I think that the running game will be key to how far this season can go for us.
Besides Cam and Gino, has anybody impressed you stepping up at guard?
Michael Carroll played a little bit. Olas has done a nice
huge
job. So we got good depth there. Those two guys are probably the first two that stand out.
That's huge. Michael Carroll. I've been talking about Michael Carroll since his recruitment. This young man, tackle. You ask him to play tackle, he's ready. You ask him to play guard, he's ready. Like, he is the most athletic offensive lineman in the room as a true freshman right now. We were excited when we got J.C. Latham as an offensive lineman. When he signed, we were excited when we got Tyler Booker. I think Michael Carroll is the next one of that group. You're talking about offensive linemen coming to Alabama and making their name as freshmen. I think Michael Carroll might find his way if Jaden Roberts doesn't stay healthy. If you have issues at tackle where maybe Formby or Proctor aren't working out, you're going to see Michael Carroll within that first 6-7 man rotation of offensive linemen. He's really pushing, and then right behind him, Jackson Lloyd, the other true freshman. Both of those guys are really day one ready guys. But you heard him talk about Olis Allen. He's just been, for the last 2 seasons, been right there on the edge, tilting right into that rotation. I think more so his overall body development was a huge thing. What's your thoughts on hearing about some of those offensive linemen stepping up with Jaden Roberts being out?
Makes me feel pretty good that we're going to be okay. Well, we're going to be more than okay. But it's always good to make sure that you've got a healthy O-line, good, bad, or ugly. Because when the going gets tough, you're always going to need the toughest O-line that there is.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. And people have learned that, especially just think about the Michigan game, man. If you think about when we played Michigan, their interior, their trenches was a lot tougher than ours during that game in the playoffs, and that's not usual to be seen at Alabama. So getting back to that mentality is going to be huge for us. We had some footage. I was going to show some footage from the scrimmage, but I think we'll show it a little bit later. It was awesome to see Michael Carroll. I was trying to say Jackson. It was good to see Michael Carroll be mentioned because you all know that's like a personal one for me to see.
Got
him.
me thinking Michael Carroll singing, I'm bad.
Hey, my man, he is bad, man. My boy is bad, and it was crazy. The size that he's put on since showing up to campus in the spring, to see where he is now, it looks like a grown man out there amongst the veteran offensive linemen. So good to see some positive things with the offensive linemen and the depth there. Coach Grubb saying he's confident in the group that he has set as the starting 5. And with Jaden Roberts needing that time to get 100%, by all means, take your time. If we got a offensive line group that's producing, I love it. I love it because that means once we get them back, we're in that much better shape.
You talked about the difference in offense and being, Jalen Milroe offense. Is
Yep.
part of that less quarterback design runs? I know Ty can move.
Yeah.
But do you look to do that less with him, or?
I mean, to a point, Ty is certainly capable of doing those things. I've just, probably philosophically, Mike Penix was a good runner. People wouldn't know that, but we didn't really run him till the playoffs or late just because it's a long season. And, you're better off with your starter being able to throw the football in this offense than run it. We'll certainly look for those opportunities because I think Ty is a good runner, and we'll make sure we have, things for him. But taking care of him, making sure that he's upright is important.
What do you see out of James Proctor through ball camp?
He's getting stronger. He's getting there. I think that there was a little bit, of catch up early in camp because he wasn't in spring ball. So we're working on the sustainability of him staying on the field, just being in great shape.
What progress have you seen from Jalen and Bach?
Bach, catching. That's the first thing that comes to mind is honestly like early in camp.
Yeah.
He had some drops, and I think he's just getting more comfortable, honestly, playing the position and catching the football. He's doing a lot better job. There was probably first 3 practices, probably had 3 drops or so, and since then it just really hasn't come back up. So he's doing a good job. You bet. Thank you.
Great interview by Coach Grubb, man. Definitely want better questions, man. We always have our complaints over there on our network, but I think today was pretty solid.